Hello, Kindred Spirits, and welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be delving into your next 2 weeks with a week-by-week energy forecast with the charms. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back to the channel, to my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here. I also just want to say thank you to anyone who's been sticking around, as the algorithm hasn't been the greatest recently, so thank you to everyone who has been really joining in on these readings in the new year. I really do appreciate your support and appreciate you just hanging out here with me despite the algorithm not always being the best. So thank you so much, and thank you for just hanging out here as well in the new year. Today we are going to be looking into your next 2 weeks, so of course we're going to be playing around with the charms. I'm going to have a lot of fun with them. I really enjoyed your guys' piles. They were all very unique and had quite a different little flair to them. The charms have been very chatty lately, so I've been enjoying that, and I hope you do too. And if you'd like to support this channel as well as support yourself here in the new year, then definitely feel free to check out the snail mail readings as well as digital and email readings that you can get for New Year's year ahead readings. So these are going to be useful to you all year long. I have 2 different options for you for both snail mail and digital reading options, but also in 2 different kinds of 3-card and 7-card tarot card spreads, so you can go deep into the nitty-gritty of the challenges and strengths that you have in the new year, the card of the year for you, as well as many other things, as well as looking into a bridge from what to leave in the past and what to bring into the new year kind of spread with a 3-card spread. So if any of that really, strikes your fancy or gets you excited for the new year, then definitely feel free to check out all the information for those down below. They're my favorite to do, and are also the 7-card spread is actually the spread I use for myself every year. So I definitely would not have a spread for you guys if I didn't find that it was useful for me as well. So definitely feel free to check those all out down below, but let's go ahead and look at the piles as well. So here are the 3 different piles that we have here. I was really feeling called to the snowy energy of the clear quartz, as you can tell, as well as the clarity feeling of them. So here for pile number 1, you have the option of this particular clear quartz, which is, I'm just going to call the sort of pointed clear quartz. So if you're feeling called to this one, it even has some rainbows in it if I could get it in the right angles, then this is pile number 1. Here for pile number 2 is what I like to call the crackle egg quartz, as it is very crackly or egg shaped. So if you're feeling called to this one, that would be pile number 2. And last but not least here, it's not particularly or entirely clear quartz, but is rutilated quartz. So if you're feeling called to this one with these little rutilations of gold inside, then that is pile number 3. But before you start heading off to the timestamps, I'd like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me in a moment, so you can really connect with each of the piles, connect with your own guides, call them in if you'd like to, or really connect with your own intuition. So let's go ahead and take a deep cleansing breath here now. And as always, there are no rules to this. You can choose all 3 of the piles, you can choose a pile and change your mind, you can take little bits from each of them. There really are no rules to this. So all of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video for your convenience. And like I said, if you're interested in those year ahead New Year's readings, then definitely feel free to check out all the information for those. They'll only be available for the rest of January. So definitely head on over to my Instagram to see more reviews and information, as well as email me if you want to know more. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this clear quartz point, then this is the pile for you as we delve into your next 2 weeks, looking into a week-by-week energy forecast with the charms. We're going to be playing around with some letters and some numbers, and also your tarot card of the overarching variety. So we're going to be seeing quite a few different things happening here. Definitely feel free to get yourself settled and cozy for this, and if you're curious about what I'm using here today, as always, it will be listed in the description down below. But we are going to get right on into it by starting out with some letters and numbers. So I have some letter tiles in here that we're going to start out with first, and what these are going to do are show us any oracle messages that are coming forward, any messages to showcase specific people that are really going to crop up through initials or even complete names that can be spelled out. And as always, when we move through anything that we're going to use here, definitely feel free to use your own intuition and see what comes forward, because there might be something that you see that I don't that's really important and that your intuition's really picking up on. So I definitely encourage you to use your own. So let's go ahead and mix these up for you all. Ooh, that's really interesting. I immediately read key to, like there's like a key or a door opening or a threshold that you are crossing over the next 2 weeks. That's really interesting. Gave me chills. Okay, so you've got key to, and then, so that's Keyto. And then it also says A, Q. Interesting. Whenever I get A and Q together, a lot of the time it makes me think of like a Q&A or trying to finally find answers to your questions. So maybe the you're getting a key to answers that you've been, or questions that you've been really wanting to be answered, especially since it could have been key to an answer or a key to a question. So it could be also over the next 2 weeks that yes, you get an opportunity or something that comes forward that feels like a key and a door opening, something unlocking, that in that unlocking sometimes can open a whole new, mystery to us. So even though you may have a key to fixing or answering something you are already quite puzzled about, by answering that puzzle or figuring out that puzzle, you may have opened the door to a new mystery to be solved. So there's something going on there. This is a really interesting setup showing up here already. Outside of that, I also saw toy a moment ago. So there could be something, maybe you're hanging out with a young person in your life. There could be someone like toying with you, like toying with your emotions or toying with you in some way. So that's something to consider. But I'm not seeing much else that's really catching my eye here. But feel free to see if you see anything else. There's nothing we can really do with the Q because we didn't get a U along with it. But that's kind of everything that I'm really getting here. But the biggest things were really just like a key to something, some sort of door opening, something unlocking in that sense. So let's go ahead and see what else you have coming in with your numbers. So similar to the letters, this time we're going to be looking into the numbers to see any angel numbers, significant dates. We can look into numbers that are repeating, and maybe there's a reason or rhyme there, but we're going to just have a little look here. Sometimes the colors also can have an association. Only had 2 here. It was like an immediate pull. You have the number 8 as well as 6, 8 in blue, 6 in red. Not giving us a lot when it comes to significant dates. The 8th or the 6th could have been significant in the past and maybe where these questions have been cropping up, or maybe where this key was needed, if you're looking towards like the past, depending on when you're watching this, that is. But also 86 could be a really lucky number, or even 68. I also am looking at this in the numerological sense, and 6 is a number of harmony. And then you also have 8 in a number of abundance and infinity. It's like things that just come back around, what goes around comes around kind of feeling to it. So it kind of feels like if you've been in a situation, especially since the 6 is falling in more of a, that red, sometimes more harsher color, it could be that something that's been kind of difficult or painful or hard or harsh recently, that energy is, again, like when you have your ups, you're going to have your downs in there. So if you're in the down right now, it's going to come back to the up. And if you're in the up, maybe you're going to have a down on its way in. So these are things to consider, that, we're always constantly on that wheel of up or down. And it really depends on where you feel you are on the wheel as of right now. But let's go ahead and see your card of the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be looking into one card here, although we're going to be pulling many other tarot charms and other charms to see more on the individual week by week basis. But I would just want to see like the overarching energy coming in, the biggest theme coming in for you for the next 2 weeks. So definitely feel free to connect with the cards here, meditate with them if you'd like to. And let's see, group one. I don't know, I just had this feeling that it was going to be very quick, and a lot of your pulls have been quite quick, so that's not surprising, especially since you have the Page of Swords, and they're a very quick moving fellow here. The Page of Swords can represent a lot of different things. First off, immediately, if you're waiting for packages to come in, if you've been waiting for an email to come in, you're on a wait list, there's something that you're just waiting to have arrive, you need a messenger for, or a delivery of some sort. This is the next 2 weeks where it's very possible that could be on its way in, that there's just like a flood of messages. This also can represent too like a lot of having a lot of communication with someone, you know, maybe back and forth emails, maybe you're having a lot of texts with someone, maybe you are going out and being more social, but there's some sort of like social butterfly to this Page of Swords, but I'm really getting it almost in a work sense. In the way that it's kind of coming off is just like, it makes me feel like with coworkers, or you're hanging out in meetings and a lot of networking, that kind of stuff, but it's not exclusive to that, of course. The Page of Swords also can talk to the idea of exploring something that you aren't like that adept in, right? When we look at this Page of Swords, they're not, you know, like someone who goes up to bat for the very first time in like baseball or softball, or playing some sort of game that they've never done before. And, you know, they just like don't know how to hold the bat. They're not sure how to swing properly. They don't really know how to aim. That's how this Page of Swords is kind of coming off, right? They don't really have their feet wide enough apart. They're not bending their knees. They're just sort of kind of lazily throwing this sword around. They're not really sure what they're doing. And so this shows that you're like, you have the gumption to want to try something maybe, or you have the questions that you are trying to have answered, but you don't yet have the answers to be able to execute something very well. And so the Page of Swords definitely has this sort of awkward, clumsy, just stumbling into something kind of feeling to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't learn or grow or find the answers that you're looking for. But if it comes to like a new skill that you're learning, a hobby that you're trying, a new recipe, whatever it might be, right? This is the opportunity for you to just sort of stumble into it, be kind of awkward about it, and see what can come of that, versus trying to like hold yourself back from those fear of making mistakes or failure. So I really see you kind of moving into this Page of Swords energy over the next 2 weeks. But let's go ahead and continue further. We're going to be looking into the charm mat here, and if you guys are interested in getting your own custom charm mat, it doesn't have to look exactly like this one, but one that's embroidered, that I put a lot of time, care, and consideration into for your particular charm casting needs, then definitely feel free to reach out. But for this one particularly today, we are going to be pulling some tarot tiles over here, as well as charms. And anything that falls here in the center is going to be more on that Page of Swords main themes and energies. Anything that falls here on the left side is going to be related to week 1, and then the same for the right side for week 2, and then we'll talk about the moon for timing or the energy of that particular moon phase. So let's go ahead and pull a few tarot tiles first to kick us off. So definitely feel free to send your energy into the dark abyss here. And let me pull some for you. Okay, so we have like a little sandwich of ones that we don't really know what's happening over there. Here in the center you have and I'll be zooming in a moment, but here in the center you have the 5 of Swords, and then kind of blending between weeks you have the King of Swords here. Very interesting, a lot of sword energy, a lot of energy coming up already to do with thoughts and ideas and free thinking and things like that. So let's go ahead and pull some charms that we can really dive into this. definitely feel free to have a little chat with them. They've been very chatty lately. So let's go ahead and pull some for you. Okay, so I'm gonna see where those land. Not too many to work with here today. They weren't feeling like overwhelming you here, which makes sense. You have a lot of thoughts in the suit of swords, so I can see how they wouldn't want to overwhelm you. Okay, so you have the Haya charm showing up here, and you got the overwhelmed charm, which is really interesting. And this actually fell on top of the overwhelmed charm. So when it came to those deliveries, to those messages that are coming in, maybe a lot of you are getting a lot of packages. You're getting a lot of messages. You're getting a lot of correspondence of some way, whether it's through social media, whether it's through an app, through letters, through delivery services, or through, in-laws showing up at your door, right? There's some sort of social aspect to this, or some sort of correspondence to this that is possibly overwhelming. Maybe you just don't know where to start, or you're just getting it from a lot of different angles. So that's something to consider when it comes to your next 2 weeks. In general, though, again, the Haya can just represent too having lots of conversations or getting to know people. A lot of the time when I see this Haya one too, it can feel like somebody who's reaching out to be like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a long time. Let's meet up kind of thing. So that's the feeling that I'm getting here from the Haya. You also have here the Five of Swords. And this one, whenever I see the Five of Swords, I usually think of like something that feels very unfair. Because as you can see, one person here is sort of hoarding all of the swords and the others are in, kind of a state due to it, right? A state of lack, or they don't have everything. So when I'm looking at this, especially in combination with the Page of Swords that you got recently for your main card over the next 2 weeks, when I'm looking at this, it feels like what also might be overwhelming you over the next 2 weeks of that feeling of failure, or not wanting to do things wrong, not wanting to step on toes, don't want to make mistakes because you're not sure yet how to maybe execute something. This is making me think too that maybe you're comparing yourself to people who have already figured that out, right? Like you wouldn't, if you've just started playing baseball, doesn't necessarily mean you guys are into baseball, but I'm just imagining this. You're just starting this new skill and you're comparing yourself to the top chef or the top person in this field or the top person that who has, all of the information. I mean, it's just not really fair. So in this case, I really feel like it's maybe you're being a bit unfair to yourself, or someone else is comparing you to someone who should know so much more. And I don't feel like that is very fair. So that's something to consider when it goes into your next 2 weeks, is that there's this sense of comparison, of unfairness, unfairly being judged against someone or being compared to someone that is either coming from you or coming from someone around you that is causing maybe a bit of doubt or trying to put you down for just learning something new, right? We're allowed to stumble, especially when we're learning something new. And so I think that's something to remind yourself of over these next 2 weeks, that you're allowed to stumble, you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to see what happens when you just stumble into it. As for your first week, you didn't have a ton. You have more showing up here in the second week, but you did have this little sandwich here. So let's see. You have the Three of Pentacles reversed alongside the Death card. And the Death card usually represents, death, but in the energetic sense of like something that kind of like I was talking about earlier with what comes up must come down kind of feeling of that infinity symbol. So when I'm looking at this, it makes me think that when you have these two together, that there's something within maybe a collaborative workspace, because this usually shows like collaboration, working together, teamwork, that kind of stuff. And you're currently in a situation where you're either parting ways with a particular team, or you're finishing off or completing a project that you guys have been working on for a while, or like I said, parting ways because it's not really working, or there is some sort of disconnect there. So I see that happening in the first week, and I do think that parting ways is showing up here again with another one, as you have a charm showing up here of the breaking the cycles charm. So this is something that's been happening, where you've been doing this thing for many, many weeks, many, many months, many, many days, and you're breaking the cycle, you're finishing something off. you're completing the circuit. So that's what I'm getting here in your first week. As for your second week, you have a couple of other things. Like I said, you have this King of Swords showing up here. So where I was talking about earlier, you have a key or an opportunity showing up for you where something is unlocking. I really feel like that is happening here in the second week in the crossover, that threshold that we were passing, right? It even looks a bit like a little threshold here. Where you once didn't feel like you had a lot of information, you're making mistakes, you're stumbling, you're a bit awkward with something, you're starting to get the hang of something by the second week, because you do have more authority showing up here. You have more of a mastering feeling, like you're mastering a skill. I even got that from the M that's showing up here. You also have a couple of other things. You have two different like commandment charms. You don't have to see them as commandments. I just really like how the scenes are showed here. It says thou shalt not kill, but I always think of this as like especially in combination with this one that says thou shalt not steal. So it feels like someone trying to steal your thunder, trying to kill your vibe, trying to push you down or put you down in some way. And especially since this fell on the tails side of the penny, it makes me think that they're trying to put you behind them. They want to lead. They want to be ahead. So again, that comparison is showing up here, whether it's like someone literally trying to get ahead of you, or if it's something to do with just how you're perceiving a situation or perceiving yourself in comparison to others. I really do feel like that comparison is showing up here a lot in the second, or in all of your next 2 weeks, but specifically starting to maybe even resolve in the second week. So overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have for you over the next 2 weeks. I really do hope that this has been useful and helpful to you in kind of figuring out how you want to go about your next 2 weeks. If you did find this useful, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below what you saw. I'm always curious to hear your guys' thoughts. And if you're interested in these pick a card readings, the charms, or art magic, then definitely feel free to check out the rest of the videos that I have already on the channel. I have over 200 videos for you to check out. And you can also subscribe as I put out these videos every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And before I close this off, if you're interested in the New Year's snail mail and digital readings that I have offered right now for 2 different types, a lower cost one but just as effective and useful one, or a much bigger and more expansive spread for a tarot reading, then definitely feel free to check out all the information for those down below through my Instagram, or reach out to me and I'll send you all the information you need to know. So with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off this reading. Thank you so much for being here with me today and into the new year, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this crystal quartz egg, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring your next 2 weeks, doing a week by week energy forecast with the charms. We're going to be playing around with the letters and numbers, and we're also going to be playing around with some tarot tiles and some other tarot related things. So I'm going to have all of this, as always, listed down below in the description in case you're curious what we're using here today. But we're going to get right into it. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen many times, so ignore it as it does, but we're going to be looking into your numbers and letters first. So definitely feel free to get your intuition flowing, especially for this kind of reading. I always think it's such a free-flowing reading, as we're going to be playing around with charms and very chatty tools. So if that is something that you are ready for, then definitely put your own little intuition cap on and we'll see what comes through. We're going to start out first by looking into the letters. These are going to be showcasing any oracle messages or initials. You can even find dates and names and other things, whatever you feel free to spell out. So let's go ahead and have a little look and pull some for you. Not a ton of them are showing up, and the first ones that you got are all hard to spell with because they're all A, U, and E, which are all vowels. Wow, I couldn't come up with the word vowels. But yeah, you have all vowels showing up here at the start, A, U, and E. You also have S, T, and R. Interesting. I immediately thought like start, but you don't have, everything to spell it. So it's almost like you're getting a start to something. You're kind of figuring out maybe like a strategy for something, That's the feeling that I was getting here, like starting or gaining a game plan, finding a strategy, deciding how you want to make something happen. A lot of planning feelings that are showing up here. I also saw true here, or even thought of like the word truce, even though it's not fully here. Truce. But I saw like true here, almost like you're wanting to be true to yourself, or you're wanting to be true to someone else, being honest about something, or maybe a truth is going to be revealed over the next 2 weeks. Rue also is making me think that you're not wanting to make like a big step forward. Rather, you're wanting to plan, you're wanting to strategize or figure things out, like almost like you're perusing something, or you're creating like a roux. I don't know, that's the feeling that I was getting here from all of this so far, but definitely feel free to see if there's something else that is showing up for you. But overall, that's kind of the biggest ones that I had showing up for you all. So let's go ahead and see what else you have coming in with the numbers. So similar to the letters, the numbers are going to give us some more information. You might see specific angel numbers. You could see very significant dates or repeating numbers showing up, numerological information. We're going to see it all. So let's go ahead and pull some for you. It's a nice little bundle here. You have 12 in black, 8 in blue, 9 in orange, and 6 in blue. So you've got 2 blues, a 12 and a 9. So whenever I see the 12, it makes me think of like the 12th or the 21st being a very important date. You also have, whenever I get like a teen number, I always think that it could be the 16th, the 18th, the 19th, the 12th, the 21st. Those could be significant dates showing up here for you all. 12 is really interesting with the solid black, because 12, makes me think of like, especially like the wheel of the year, or not the wheel of the year, the actual year, like the months of the year. And so when I'm thinking of this too, and the idea of strategy, planning, maybe you're working on some New Year's resolutions, a vision board, maybe some of you are just trying to plan things out, figure what's going to happen, plan things out for maybe something that's going to happen many months ahead, just trying to get some sort of game plan coming together, and a very solid one at that, especially with that black, is really coming forward. I also got like the feeling of like a dime a dozen kind of feeling for some reason that I felt like I needed to say. Also, 6 and 8 also came up for pile number 1, but because it's in such a calming color, it makes me think that there could be something that's really harmonizing, or things are going to be maybe more calm over the next 2 weeks for you. 9 is a number of things accelerating quite quickly right towards the end of something. Think of like a due date that you procrastinate for the night before, or like an exam that you have and then you wait until the night before you study. That kind of feeling is what I'm getting from this 9. So it feels like things are really, really calm. Then you kind of come up with some sort of game plan or strategy, maybe throw it out the window and try to get something done really quickly and fast. So that's the feeling that I'm getting here from just your numbers alone, but we'll see if there's more information to that, of course, from the rest of your piles information. So we're going to start out by looking into your first little tarot card here. We'll be pulling more in the charms, but this one is going to be looking into the overarching theme, the energy that's going to be most prevalent over the next 2 weeks. So let's see what that is for you. Definitely feel free to connect with the cards here. So group 2, the next 2 weeks, what is the overarching theme or energy that's coming through most prevalently for the next 2 weeks? Group 2. Keep getting a couple that keep feeling like they want to come out, but then they're not it. Okay, you've got Justice, which is an interesting one to have come forward, because Justice definitely has that almost 12 feeling. It's not like they're trying to make some really big game plan and strategy like the Two of Wands might, but the Justice card does also tell us the idea of the consequences to our actions, right? The Justice card doesn't play around. It's definitely, if you do something and it makes this happen, then that's what's going to happen, right? It's very non-judgmental. They're not trying to harm anyone. It's just there's to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction kind of feeling. So when I'm looking at this Justice card, it makes me think too that if you make a strategy, if you make a plan, then you're going to get the good reaction you're looking for. If you wait until, 6 a.m. or even 6 a.m., doesn't really matter, but you wait until the night before to finish something, you're going to get maybe harder results, or it's going to be more difficult for you in the long run. Doesn't mean you can't be still successful, but it might mean you're going to be super tired and groggy the next day. So whatever it might be, it just means that whatever you decide to do, whatever action you decide to take, or set of actions and behaviors, those are going to create some sort of reaction. Whether negatively, positively, or a mix is kind of up to you. So the Justice card is just telling me that the actions that you're taking over the next 2 weeks are really going to be setting up some really big reactions, whether positively or negatively for you over the next 2 weeks. Again, it really depends on what you decide to do and what actions you take, but regardless, those are going to have big impacts. And so that's what I'm seeing here with the Justice card. Let's go ahead and see what else might be coming through for you all by looking into the charm cast portion of this. So what we're going to do is look into your charms here on the charm mat here, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in getting your own custom charm mat, if that's something you'd like to have in the new year for your charm casting set, in any custom order that you'd like, then definitely feel free to reach out, because I'd love to make those for you all. But for this particular one, we're going to be seeing if there's anything that falls here for charms in the center. It's going to be more on that Justice card energy. If you have anything that falls here on the left side of this line, then that is going to be for week 1, and on the right side is week 2, and then we'll talk about the moon phases individually for timing or its particular phase if it shows up. So of course we're going to start out with some tarot tiles, and then we'll pull some charms to accompany them. So definitely feel free to meditate on these for a moment if you wish, but I'm going to pull some for you all. Okay, so you have a few showing up here that we can already see. We have the 8 of Cups. You also have the 4 of Cups and the Magician. But we'll reveal this one as we go. And I'll be zooming you in a lot closer here in a minute. But let's pull some charms as well. Like I said, they've been, for pile 1 I said this, they've been very chatty lately. I've been having a lot of fun reconnecting with my own charms for my own readings. So let's see what you get. Okay, a lot of charms falling in the center. Very interesting. That idea of the Justice card is showing up here in many different ways. So let's see how those are showing up here for you. So like I said, you've got 2 cards already showing up. The first one being the 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups is a card all about sort of retreating from a situation that no longer is serving you emotionally or isn't fulfilling you anymore. You're just like, okay, this isn't giving me what I wanted out of it. I'm over this. I need to walk away from it, or I need a little bit of a break, a bit of a respite, a bit of time to collect my thoughts, collect my emotions, understand how I'm truly feeling about the situation. And it seems like you're quite neutral about this, because it didn't fall, upside down or reversed, and it didn't fall entirely upright. So this is maybe something you're having this strategy about. Maybe this is something you're considering, leaving something, retreating from something, especially something that has been overwhelming, has been messing with your own mental health, because you got the overwhelm charm, you got the self-care charm, and maybe even just feels quite monumental, because you did have the letter M showing up here similarly. And in that same vein, you also got another kind of more difficult cup card of the 4 of Cups. And the 4 of Cups can represent someone who's trying to retreat, trying to collect their thoughts, and yet someone still keeps coming in and being like, okay, but maybe you could try this, or maybe you should do that, or maybe you should go over there, or maybe, and you're getting like all this unsolicited advice. You're getting a bunch of, maybe do this, maybe do that. Here's an answer to all your problems kind of feeling. And maybe you just want to sit and figure it out on your own. And that's the feeling that I'm getting here for your next 2 weeks. When it comes to this Justice side of it too, it also can be that maybe you're worried about the, if you retreat from something, if you leave something, if you decide to go one way or the other in a particular situation that isn't feeling fulfilling anymore, or that you're trying to better understand, that by taking that action, by actually deciding on something rather than just sort of staying in this limbo zone of should I stay, should I go, should I do that, should I not, is maybe delaying the idea that you're going to have a consequence, whether it's good or bad, to the action that you decide to take. In this case, I really feel like you might want to be thinking that by not taking an action that you are slowing down any repercussions that you may get, but if anything, it just sort of stalls everything. And so maybe you're in this stalemate kind of situation. You also have the what you're sitting between is the blooming charm, which represents wanting to bloom or grow or do better. And then you also have the turn a leaf charm, something where you want to turn a leaf, you want to turn the chapter, you want to move to the next page, but you're like kind of set still, again, at a stalemate in between. So I really feel like you're in like this limbo mode right now. Let's go ahead and look at pile one on week 1 here. So most of it is showing up here, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave you zoomed in, but you've got the Magician charm, as well as the Very Successful charm. Both of these are very successful cards, with the Magician as well as the Six of Wands. So that's really nice to see, because like I said, you had kind of more difficult emotional things that are going on, but when it comes to like maybe your week-to-week stuff, you're still having successes, you're still being quite resourceful with the things that you have, the stuff that you're trying to get done. So maybe you've been using a planner, maybe you've been just successful at work, whatever it might be. But like, I feel like your everyday things are quite successful, and you're feeling quite confident in the things that you're getting done when it comes to this first week. And I also feel like people are recognizing that you're being quite successful in something, especially in the first week, because the Six of Wands can represent people backing you up or holding up, a flame behind you to kind of keep you going. And so even though sometimes that unsolicited advice or unsolicited even compliments and things like that can feel like a lot, it does seem like people are trying to kind of bolster you up here, or hold you up. And in doing so, maybe they're also holding you up to a higher standard than you'd like. So maybe you're not enjoying all of the spotlight from your success, but there is success happening here in the first week. You also have that letter M showing up here, so maybe that could be related to a mom, that monumental feeling I was talking about earlier, or in this case, you have a marble over here. This is like one of those little cat's eye marbles, so it could be related to cats or to seeing things more clearly. But in this case, I am kind of just thinking of like that idea of you've lost your marbles kind of feeling. So it feels like, not that you've literally lost your marbles, but more so that maybe you're just feeling a little bit, even though you have all the success coming in, maybe it just doesn't still feel fulfilling enough. It still feels like something's missing, something doesn't feel entirely connected. And that's what I'm getting here from this first week. Even amongst your success, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're feeling not feeling still a little bit lost in the weeds at the same time, which can be a very frustrating and overwhelming situation to be in, so I understand that. Here in the second week, you have a couple of other things. You have the breaking a cycles charm, so something like maybe you're breaking a habit, breaking a cycle of some sort, something that's been going around and around and around for a long time. You're going to be breaking something from its continuous cycle here. Maybe that's that stalemate, or maybe it's your streak of success, or maybe it's a habit or ritual that you're trying to work through. But you also have the insecurity charm happening in the second week as well, as this is like a safety pin and it's kind of bent, which tells me that you're feeling a little insecure, or you're feeling a little bit wobbly in the second week. And that can come because when we're comfortable in a cycle that we're all constantly doing, and when we break that cycle, we lose that comfortability, that security that we've built up in it. So that does make a lot of sense. And then here you have the poppy charm showing up here at, because it has these little poppies on it, at the new moon, which represents new cycles coming in for you, related to the poppy energy. And ever since I saw the Spacious Tarot, which I don't even own, I've always associated poppies now with the Emperor card. And the Emperor is all about planning and getting things planned and finding a strategy and and a battle plan. So again, there's something about strategy, new beginnings, and wanting to have a fresh new start, or wanting to create a new strategy for yourself with better consequences, breaking cycles, moving past this stalemate energy that is really coming forward a lot for you in these next 2 weeks. But I don't think you're necessarily going to have it resolved over the next 2 weeks. So that's sort of the main things that I have coming in here for you for the next 2 weeks. Group 2 here. I really do hope that this has been useful and helpful to you in navigating your next 2 weeks. If you did enjoy this reading and you got something out of it, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below what you saw. If you saw something differently, if there was something else really sparking your eye, I'd love to hear. And if you're interested in the pick a card readings like this one that I do on this channel, I have over 200 videos already on the channel that you can check out, as well as educational videos on charm casting and art magic and magic in general. So definitely feel free to subscribe as I put out new videos every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And if you're interested in more of that New Year's strategy, I also have my New Year's readings open right now to really look into the year ahead and see what might be coming in for you. I have 2 different options, a bridge to the new year spread, as well as a much more overarching spread that I like to use personally. And if you want to get those, in a reduced price digitally through an email, or if you want a snail mail reading that I send to you typed up and easy to read through the vintage typewriter that I own, wax sealed, closed, and sent straight to you, then definitely feel free to check out all the snail mail and digital reading options for those down below. And if you have any questions about them, feel free to email me. But with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off this reading, wishing you the best for your next 2 weeks, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello Group 3, if you've decided to choose this piece of Rutilated Quartz, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be navigating your next 2 weeks with a week-by-week energy charm forecast using the charms here as well as the tarot tiles. We're also going to be playing around with some numbers and letters, and also an overarching energy card for the next 2 weeks. So let's get right on into it. So feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, comfortable, call in your own guides if you'd like to, and put your own intuition cap on, as when we go through these readings, I always like to invite you guys to use your own intuition, especially with this particular one. I always feel like it's a really good one to really hone in and practice your own intuition, as the charms can be very chatty and give you very unique results. So definitely feel free to use your own intuition as we move through this, but we're going to get right into it. Let's see what's going on. So we're going to start out first with the letter tiles. These are going to be showcasing to us if you have any specific people that are really going to be prevalent with names or initials. You can also see it as any oracle messages coming forward or other significant things we can spell out. So let's go ahead and have a little look here. Feel free to connect with them if you'd like, and let's pull some for you. Okay, so not really getting anything just from the first letters that have shown up face up. You have QR, maybe like a QR code. You have T and E. But let's see what else you have. P, A, and H. So there's a couple of things that I'm seeing right off the bat, but none of them are like you can totally write them properly. Like I got great from like the way that this is spelled here. I also got the feeling of like a PhD showing up here. I also had rate show up here. Like maybe you are rating something, or maybe someone is rating you, maybe some sort of performance review, or maybe you're rating other things or ranking something. There's something showing up there with a rate. Maybe you're going into, get a good rate for something. I also thought of like phosphate. I keep thinking of like a lot of science things that aren't fully, like I can't fully write them, but I was thinking like phosphate, I was thinking science, I was thinking psychology, I was thinking PhD, right? There's a lot showing up here that feels very sciencey in a way, and I just don't think I threw out enough letters to be able to fully write all of the things that I'm thinking of, but maybe you guys are, sciencey nerds. I love science stuff, so maybe you guys are really into that kind of thing, and just a lot of science is going to be showing up for you in your life. Maybe you have a career in science or around the sciences. Something like that is showing up here, where that's going to be a big part of your next 2 weeks. I also, like I said, I got that QR code showing up here, almost like maybe some of you are very tech savvy as well, maybe working with something very tech related. Sometimes these can be very, like, almost so specific that, like, you don't know when it's going to show up, but maybe you're just going to be using a QR code those next 2 weeks. That may be quite significant, and it doesn't really make sense now, but in the future it might. Maybe it's to do with, like, something at a restaurant that you're eating at. But honestly, the science side of it is what's coming through the most, science and tech. So really interesting that that's showing up here. Maybe it's not that you're super interested in science, but maybe someone around you is, and they're going to be just sort of like sending you a video about it or getting you into it. I even saw like anthropology. Like, I don't know why there's just so many science or philosophy or like all under that sort of umbrella of sort of roles showing up here. Maybe some of you are trying to like figure out a major. I don't know. Maybe that's why this is showing up here, but take it as you do, and if it feels too specific, then feel free to see what else is showing up here as we go on. Let's go ahead and see the numbers. The numbers are going to be giving us some information on any angel numbers, repeating numbers, numerology. We're also going to be looking into how they might show up in significant dates that might be showing up for you over the next 2 weeks. The letters also have different colors that might associate, so let's see. Ooh, lots of them. So you have the number 3 in blue, a 3 in orange, a 10 in blue, a 5 in black, and a 9 in red. So maybe the 13th is very important for some of you, 15th or the 19th. You also have two, well, not the number 2, but you have 2 of them in the color blue. Blue being a very calming color, at least to me. It's very calming, although you might have a different association. But I'm seeing 10 usually represents completing something, and maybe you're completing something related to a project or related to some sort of team effort building here, because 3 can represent collaborations, networking, working together with some sort of team. So maybe you're finishing or completing a project. 9 also can represent that it was a project, especially with the way that it is showing up here in the red. Maybe a project that was very to the wire, because it's like right before 10, it's like 10 you get to relax, 9 you're still sort of in the hot seat. 5 seems pretty neutral, so I'm not really getting a ton from 5 outside of maybe the 15th. And then again with the 3 earlier, of that sort of hot seat feeling, like you went from like, oh my god, we gotta finish this, to like, whew, we did it, it's done. So that's really what I'm getting here from your numbers, but you might see angel numbers or other repeating numbers that are important to you. 3 of collaboration being the repeating number for you all, so there is definitely some collaborative effort going on. Let's go ahead and see your card of the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be seeing which card shows up here to look at an overarching theme or the energies that are most prevalent for you for the next 2 weeks. So definitely feel free to connect with the cards here. And we'll pull one for you. So group 3, the next 2 weeks, what energy is coming forward most for the next 2 weeks for group 3? Okay, so you have the 8 of Pentacles. Work. Y'all are trying to get something done. You're trying to finish something up, or just trying to do a very good job at something, because the 8 of Pentacles is like literally, if you had a card to represent work, I always think of the 8 of Pentacles. The 8 of Pentacles, as you can see, they've got all these different pentacles that they're working on, and they're really honing in on their craft. They're trying to perfect it. They've done it so many times. They've made this one. They're at the 8th one. They really know what they're doing by now. And so it really feels like you're honing in on your craft. You're finishing, tweaking things. You're now at a point where you really understand it, and you're getting like a mechanism to it. And so maybe that's to do with that. You're almost completing something. You're getting really close to something finishing, and it's because of all the effort that you've already put in. Or it could also be, that over the next 2 weeks, maybe you started where you didn't really know what was going on, but by the end of the next 2 weeks, you've like figured it out. So that's the feeling that I'm really getting here from the 8 of Pentacles, is this like honing in on your skills or perfecting and tweaking things to the point that you've really got a good assembly line. You've got things pretty figured out. It doesn't feel very new or foreign to you anymore, whatever it is that you're working on, whether that's a skill, whether it's something to do with all of these science terms, or maybe if it's something to do with a as I really am getting this student energy. Maybe some of you are just like getting into the new term or trying to figure your way around things, and now you know, by the end of the 2 weeks, you've kind of figured it out. You know what you're doing. So there's something showing up there where something was new, but by the end of the next 2 weeks, you're going to feel pretty prolific in it, or you figured it out. So that's what I'm getting here from the Eight of Pentacles as an overarching energy, but of course we're going to look into the specifics. So we're going to be looking into the charms and tarot tiles here, and we're going to be pulling them right on top of the charm mat that I have custom made for myself. But if you guys are interested in getting your own custom embroidered mat that you could have for yourself, then definitely feel free to reach out, as I'd love to make one for you all for whatever design you're interested in, because that just sounds like so much fun. But how we're going to be using the mat here for you all today is anything that falls here in the center is going to be related to that Eight of Pentacles that we talked about earlier, or that main energy. Anything here on the left side of this line is week 1, the right side week 2, and anything on the moon phases we'll talk about for their specific phase or a timing element. So let's go ahead and pull some tarot tiles here first. Feel free to send your energy in there, and let's pull some for you. Okay, so you have the Emperor, the Strength card. You also have the Nine of Wands, the Three of Cups, and a mystery one, which we'll reveal as we go. And I'll zoom you in a minute so you can really see these. But let's go ahead and pull you some charms here first. And they've been super chatty, and yeah, I don't know, they're at least chatting to me quite a lot. So definitely feel free to have a little combo with them here first. And I'll pull some for you. Okay, so we have quite a few falling outside of the bounds. So I'm just going to pick those up because we have quite a few of them. And you know what, this one actually feels like it wanted to be there, so I'm feeling like it's in the first week. So let's zoom you in, and we'll start first in the center. So we're going to be looking at that main energy of the Eight of Pentacles alongside the two that you got here of both the Emperor card and the Strength card. So the Emperor is all about, for me, I always think of it like trying to get your battle plan or trying to get your strategy or trying to figure things out so that it can work smoothly and efficiently. You want to be a really good leader, whether that's for yourself or for others. And it seems like it's something that you're having to be kind of brave or having a bit of courage for. So it could be related to this Eight of Pentacles as something you're trying to learn and trying to become more prolific in, especially with something that you're curious about and you want to have a good plan to figure out, but it's going to take a bit of courage and bravery to be able to get there. Like, you have to mess up a few times to get there. Kind of reminds me of the energy that I was getting from pile 1. So if you're not entirely feeling this pile, feel free to check out pile 1. But it feels like you have to kind of like dance around things, kind of go to your own beat, than trying to do the same thing that everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? Like, especially with the Eight of Pentacles, it can get a bit mundane, doing the same thing over and over again until you get the same or better results. And with this Emperor, it seems like you're wanting to kind of maybe deviate from what has always been, deviate from the strategy and patterns that you've been doing, and kind of dance to your own beat or do something a little bit differently. So I also feel some of you are maybe taking a bit of a risk or stepping a little bit outside of your comfort zone or your box to try something else that has become maybe a little bit stale. As we move to week 1, you have a couple of different things showing up here. First off, you have like this whole little gathering happening up here at the top. I'll zoom you out a little bit, of the Two of Cups showing up here on just before the new moon. So just before the new moon this month, whenever that may be, if it is even past, like this could just be energy from the past. It depends on when you're watching this. But the Three of Cups is all about socializing. It's like, you know, everyone hanging out, socializing, get-togethers, that kind of thing. And you've got it reversed. So it feels like this is like a time that is really focusing on yourself, not wanting to socialize with other people, not really wanting to work with your community, or wanting to do something on your own. You also got the don't jump the gun charm. Whenever I see this one, it makes me think like don't jump the gun, or you're not trying to hurry or finish something. So and then you also got the miss charm. So it feels like maybe someone is maybe wanting to hang out with you, but you're trying to not like miss your chance with them, even though you're feeling maybe a bit antisocial. So there could be just like this disconnect, like they want to hang out with you, they're missing you, because this is like a miss charm from Battleship. So when I see this, it makes me think like you're trying to, either someone is trying to reach out to you and they really want you to hang out because they've been missing you and they really want to hang out, but like you're not feeling like this is the time or the best timing for you to be hanging out with other people, or the opposite way could also be happening. Also, in general, you also got these ones showing up here more on week 1, so I kind of want to see how they're connecting there. So you have the community charm. I always think of this as like a little neighborhood or a little small town or a community, with the, again, don't jump the gun charm. So trying to not to get too ahead of yourself with something. You got the abundance charm or card from the Empress, and then you got the invisible charm because it is kind of invisible. So when I see these together, it makes me think that maybe you're feeling invisible in your community, or you're only being seen as that person who has all the resources or they have all the answers, but you're not like being asked about yourself. Or like, I feel like this also makes me think a lot of the time about parenthood, in that once you become a parent, sometimes, you know, you have family come over and all they want to do is see the kids and they don't really want to see you as a person. You're feeling kind of invisible or not fully seen with something. It doesn't have to be parenthood, but with something like that, you're not really being seen in your community. And so there's something showing up there as well. And that this one really just feels connected over there, but it just feels like you're not being seen in your community or being fully heard in the first week. So maybe you're needing to speak up or have a bit of that courage come forward to break a pattern there rather than dancing around a subject. So there might be something like an elephant in the room happening here in the first week. Here in the second week, you have a couple of other things showing up here. You have the, only 2 charms really. You have the magician charm. So this can represent like the magician in tarot, which is kind of how I'm interpreting it this time, although it can represent magic as well if you're more magically inclined. But you also have the battle charm or card of the 9 of Wands. It represents like really wanting to put your boundaries out there, put your foot down about something again that you've maybe been dancing around for a while. So I really feel like you're maybe putting down a boundary in this second week that really gives you a lot more authority, gives you a lot more empowerment and feeling like you have agency, because you do, in a particular situation that you've been feeling invisible in the past. So this is really flip-flopping by the second week, that this energy that you were feeling invisible, not seen, not having your boundaries respected, people just going to you because you have an abundance of answers, you have all the information, or because they want to see the kids, or because they want to see something superficial about you, but not like the real you. By the second week, I think you're going to be having put down some boundaries, or you're going to be finding a bit more agency and a bit more empowerment through the actions of these boundaries being spoken and put out there. On top of that, the last charm that you have down here, which you can't really see, so I'll zoom you out, but you have this the commitments or promise charm of the ring here, and this fell right flat straight on the full moon. And so whenever the full moon is for you this month, when, again, depends on when you're watching this, could be in the past, so it could be energy that you're kind of looking back towards, or it could be the coming full moon. You have the commitments charm. So you could be making a really big commitment or promise towards someone at this time, or there's a big responsibility in which you are having to fulfill around the full moon at this time as well. So that's something else to consider. So overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have here for you for your next 2 weeks. If you got something out of this and you found that it was useful to you, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below what you saw. Maybe you saw something completely different in the charms, or you saw something something else in the letters, I really would love to hear, especially if you guys are science nerds, or if that was just like a really random thing that came up. I truly would love to know. And if you are interested in the pick a card readings that I do like this, as well as art magic and charm casting, I have over 200 videos already on the channel that you can check out. But if you want to see the ones to come every single Monday, then definitely be sure to subscribe. And if you're interested in the New Year's, New You sort of year ahead readings, then definitely feel free to check out all the information I have for those, as well as honest reviews, as getting either a digital or snail mail version reading of those is a great way to not only support yourself all year long, but also to support the channel. So I really do appreciate anything that comes through for those. So with that all said, thank you so much for being here with me today and in the new year. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to those of you who have stuck around for so long. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.